Okay, let's dive in. Just take a second and picture your street, your town after dark.
Hmm.
It's probably just flooded with artificial light, isn't it? Street lights, glowing buildings,
Oh,
signs.
absolutely. Car headlights, too. It's everywhere.
And yeah, it lets us do things after sunset, keeps modern life humming along.
Uh,
But maybe there's a downside. Are we losing something important because of all this light?
like maybe the stars.
Exactly, like the simple ability to see the night sky.
Hmm.
So today we're going to dig into how sustainable building practices are trying to fix this. Specifically, this issue of light pollution.
Right.
We're basing this deep dive on an article that details one specific standard, the LEED plus CV5 Sustainable Sites Credit, SSc6.
A very relevant one.
Our goal here is pretty straightforward. Unpack this LEE credit. We want to get beyond just the rules and understand why it's there, you know?
Understand the intent behind it.
Yes, and see how projects actually use these guidelines to manage their outdoor lighting better. Ready to shed some light on this?
Let's do it.
And hey, if you find exploring these kinds of details about our world interesting, definitely hit subscribe wherever you're listening. That way you won't miss out when we explore other fascinating topics. Okay, so first things first. The source jumps right into the problem. Light pollution. What are we actually talking about when we say that?
Well, basically, it's just artificial light going where it's not wanted or needed.
Like spilling upwards or being way too bright?
Exactly. Uncontrolled light. Light that's on when it doesn't need to be. It's kind of wasted light, really.
And the article mentions this affects more than just astronomers wanting a clear view, right?
Oh, much more. The loss of the night sky view, that sort of hazy glow we call skyglow, that's maybe the most obvious thing people notice.
Yeah.
But the source is really clear. The impacts run deeper. It's not just about stargazing.
What else does it point to? I remember wildlife being a big one.
Yes, definitely. You have to ask, how does all this light mess with the natural world? And the article emphasizes this major disruption to ecosystems. Think about nocturnal animals. They need darkness.
For hunting, avoiding being hunted.
Finding mates, navigating, you name it. Artificial light throws a huge wrench into all of that.
The source specifically mentioned bird migration, didn't it?
It did. That's a really stark example. So many birds use the moon and stars to navigate.
Okay.
Bright city lights can just completely disorient them, pull them off course, tire them out.
And cause collisions with buildings.
Tragically, yes. Especially buildings lit up internally at night. But it's not just birds. Insects are heavily affected. Bats, even how plants grow can be impacted.
Wow. And the source also touches briefly on human health. That kind of makes sense, doesn't it? We run on light-dark cycles.
We absolutely do. We have these internal clocks, circadian rhythms, and constantly blasting ourselves with artificial light at night messes with those rhythms. Over time, that can lead to various health issues.
So this LED credit, SSc6, it's basically a tool for buildings to try and reduce all these negative effects.
Precisely. It's a strategy at the building project level to cut down on skyglow, protect wildlife, maybe even help our own well-being a bit.
Okay, so the problem's clear and significant. Let's talk about the solution offered by LEG version 5.
Yeah.
What is this SSc6 credit all about?
So it's Sustainable Sites Credit SSc6 called Light Pollution Reduction. It's specifically within the Building Design and Construction Region 5 rating system for new construction.
And it's worth 1 point,
1 point, yes.
which in LED can sometimes be a make or break point for hitting a certain certification level, so it matters.
It definitely carries weight, and the official intent, according to the source, lines up perfectly with tackling those issues we just covered.
Which are?
Basically, to increase our access to the night sky, improve actual nighttime visibility by cutting down on glare, and reduce those harmful effects on wildlife and people.
Okay, sounds good. So how does a project team actually get this point? What do they have to do?
The article lays it out. They need to address 3 specific areas for all the exterior light fixtures.
All of them. No exceptions within the main scope.
Within the project boundary, yes. Every single outdoor luminaire has to comply. You can't just, fix the parking lot lights and ignore the walkway lights.
Got it. All lights, 3 areas. Let's break down area number 1, uplight control. What's that mean?
Uplight is pretty much what it sounds like, light shooting straight up into the sky.
The main culprit for skyglow.
Exactly. So the requirement is simple in concept. All the fixtures have to meet certain maximum uplight ratings. They can't emit more than a certain amount of light upwards.
And this involves those MLO lighting zones the source mentioned, LZ0, LZ1, etc.
That's right. The Model Lighting Ordinance framework helps categorize places based on how dark they naturally are or are intended to be. LZ0 is like pristine wilderness, super dark.
Okay.
Then it goes up through LZ1, LZ2, LZ3, until you get to LZ4, which is like a bright downtown core.
And the allowed uplight changes depending on the zone.
Drastically. In the darkest zones, LZ0 and LZ1, the requirement is U0.
U0,
Right.
meaning zero uplight.
Effectively, yes. Zero tolerance for light going straight up.
Wow.
Then LZ2 allows a little bit, U2. LZ3 allows U3. And even in the brightest urban zones, LZ4, there's still a cap, U4.
That USAC count's incredibly strict. How did designers even achieve that?
It's tough and meant to be, especially in sensitive areas. The source gives a key tip. Use fully shielded fixtures.
Meaning the bulb itself is hidden.
Pretty much. The design physically blocks any light from escaping upwards. All the light goes down or maybe a bit to the sides, but nothing goes straight up.
Okay, so shielding and aiming down handles uplight. What's the second key area?
The second one tackles light trespass and glare control.
Okay, more terms. Trespass, like light going where it shouldn't.
Exactly. Light spilling off your property onto your neighbor's house or into a park or onto a road where it might distract drivers.
Glare is just that horrible blinding brightness.
Yeah, that discomfort, sometimes even temporary blindness you get from a really bright, poorly aimed light makes it hard to see anything else.
And both of those cause problems.
Big time. They annoy neighbors, disturb wildlife habitats that are supposed to be dark, and can even make things less safe because you can't see properly due to the glare.
So again, the credit sets limits.
Right. Fixtures have to meet maximum ratings for backlight. That's the light going behind the fixture, potentially causing trespass, and for glare. The standard referenced is IES TM-15-11 Addendum A.
IEs being?
The Illuminating Engineering Society. They set a lot of the lighting standards.
Got it. And how are these backlight and glare limits determined? Is it just based on the fixture?
No, and this is interesting. It depends on specifics. How high the fixture is mounted, how close it is to the property line or the edge of the area being lit, and how it's actually aimed.
Ah, so it's contextual. Where you put it and point, it matters hugely.
Precisely. The allowed levels change depending on the lighting zone and all those positional factors. It forces designers to be really smart about placement, not just picking a fixture off a shelf. You need to think about where the light's actually going.
What's the advice for meeting these trespass and glare limits?
The source suggests using cutoff fixtures. Similar idea to shielded, they limit light above certain angles.
Okay.
And crucially, they recommend doing a photometric analysis during design.
A computer simulation.
Yeah. It models how the light will actually spread from your chosen fixtures in your specific layout. It lets you see predicted light levels everywhere and check for compliance before anything gets installed. Saves a lot of headaches later.
Makes sense.
Mm.
Okay, so we've covered uplight, trespass, and glare from the fixtures themselves. What about signs? Big illuminated logos and things.
Yep, that's the third key area, internally illuminated exterior signage.
Those glowing signs on storefronts or billboards.
Exactly those. They can be real glare bombs at night if not managed.
So the rule is just make them dimmer.
Essentially, yes. Limit their luminance, which is the technical term for their brightness, during nighttime hours.
And there are specific limits.
Yes, the source gives a table with maximum allowed candelas per square meter, that's the unit of luminance, and, like uplight, it varies by lighting zone.
Let me guess, dimmer and darker zones.
You got it. In LZ0 and LZ1, the cap is pretty low, 50 CDM max. LZ2 allows 100 CDMS. LZ3 goes up to 200. And even in the brightest zone, LZ4, there's a limit of 350 CDMNS.
That tiered approach makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
A sign that looks fine in a bustling city center would be blinding in a quiet suburb.
Exactly. It keeps the sign brightness appropriate for the surroundings. The practical tip here:
What's that?
use dimmable LEDs or put the signs on automatic controls timers or sensors so they automatically dim down at night when full brightness isn't needed.
Right, simple enough. Okay, fixtures and signs covered. Are there any lights that get a free pass on these rules? Sometimes you need bright lights for safety, right?
Yes, there are exemptions for the uplight and trespass limits. But, and this is important, any exempt lighting must be controlled separately.
Ah, you can't just wire it into the same circuit as the compliant lights.
Correct. It needs its own switch or control system.
So what kind of lighting typically gets exempted?
Things you'd expect, mostly for safety or specific functions. Transportation signals like traffic lights or airport runway markers.
Okay.
Theatrical lighting, but only during actual performances. Hospital emergency department lighting is exempt. Government-required roadway lights, too. And there are a couple of conditional ones. In the brighter zones, LZ3 and LZ4, you can have facade and landscape lighting.
Like lighting up the side of a building?
Yeah, but only if it's switched off between midnight and 6 a.m.
Ah, a curfew for building lights. Smart.
And flag lighting is allowed in zones LZ2 through LZ4.
Got it. Any catches with these exemptions?
One big one the source points out. Even if a type of sign might seem like it fits an exemption category, internally illuminated signs still have to meet those luminance limits we talked about.
So a bright internally lit sign used for, say, directions near a hospital entrance would still need to meet the LZ-specific brightness cap at night.
That's the rule according to the source. The signage luminance limits are pretty strict.
Okay, so summing up all these rules, uplight, trespass, glare, signs, exemptions, what are the key practical steps the source recommends for projects trying to actually do this?
They list a few best practices. Number 1, do a site lighting assessment really early in the design phase.
Know what you're dealing with from the start.
Exactly. Figure out your lighting zone, understand the surroundings, then choose your fixtures carefully. Look for those dark sky compliant ones, full cutoff, low glare, minimal uplight.
Be intentional about hardware selection.
Definitely. And embrace automation. Use timers, photocells, motion sensors.
So lights are only on when truly needed.
Right, which also saves energy,
Yeah.
obviously. Another core idea is just don't overlight.
Use only as much light as necessary.
Precisely. Design for the actual task, not just blasting light everywhere. And finally, they suggest considering vegetation.
Plants, how do they help?
Using trees or dense shrubs as buffers can physically block light from spilling into sensitive areas, like neighboring properties or natural habitats. A simple green solution.
So it's a mix of good planning, smart tech, automation, not going overboard, and even using landscaping.
It's a holistic approach, really.
Okay, let's connect this back to everyone listening. Maybe you work on buildings, maybe you just live near them. Why should you care about the specific LED credit?
Well, stepping back, this credit represents a concrete way buildings can be better neighbors, environmentally speaking. We talked about birds and nocturnal animals.
Yeah.
Those aren't just abstract issues. Reducing light pollution helps protect the actual biodiversity in your local area and beyond.
And that point about losing the stars, that feels quite profound, doesn't it?
It really is. Think about it. For almost all of human history, a truly dark, star-filled sky was just normal, a universal experience.
And now most people can't see the Milky Way from where they live.
Exactly. It impacts culture, science, and just that basic human sense of wonder when you look up.
So encouraging buildings to follow standards like SSc6 isn't just about getting a green building plaque.
Not at all. The positive results the source points to are tangible. Healthier ecosystems, maybe safer streets because there's less disorienting glare.
And reclaiming some of that night sky beauty.
Right. The article sums it up nicely. Light responsibly, see clearly, build sustainably. It connects the technical details to the bigger picture impact.
So that brings us to the end of this deep dive on LED SA6 for light pollution. We've looked at the problem, the specific rules for uplight, trespass, glare, and signs.
Talked about the exemptions and the practical ways to implement these strategies.
And hopefully, we've made it clear that even though it involves technical stuff like luminance values and fixture ratings, the fundamental idea is about being thoughtful and making conscious choices about outdoor lighting that benefit the environment, wildlife, and even ourselves.
Yeah, it's about recognizing that how we light our world at night has ripple effects far beyond just the spot being lit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So maybe next time you're out at night, look around at the lights, think about where they're pointing, how bright they are. Imagine if we could bring back more of the natural darkness, see more stars, help wildlife navigate.
Intentional design, using principles like these, really can shape a better environment for everyone day and night. It helps restore that connection to the night that we've largely lost.
Well said. And if you found this exploration valuable and want to keep digging into the details of the world around us, please do subscribe. You can find us wherever you listen to your audio. Just hit that subscribe button so you catch our next deep dive.